Sorry about that. The phone rang. So, all right, here we are with part two. Wait, said Zoe, looking at me. You know this cow? I was feeling impatient, but I told him the story. Talia shook her head in disbelief. And you just forgot to mention this before? Well, yeah. It seems silly now that she said it, but things had been happening so fast. Bessie, the Taurus, seemed like a minor detail. I am a fool, Zoe said suddenly. I know the story. What story? From the War of the Titans, she said. My my father told me this tale thousands of years ago. This is the beast we are looking for. Bessie? I looked down at the bull serpent. But he's too cute. He wouldn't destroy the world. That is how we were wrong, Zoe said. We've been anticipating a huge, dangerous monster. But the Ophiutarus does not bring down the gods that way. He must be sacrificed. Bessie lowed. I don't think he likes the S word, Grover said. I patted Bessie on the head, trying to calm him down. He let me scratch his ear, but he was trembling. How could anyone hurt him? I said. He's harmless. Zoe nodded, but there is power in killing the innocent. Terrible power. The fates ordained the prophecy eons ago. When this creature was born, they said that whomever killed the Ophiutarus and sacrificed his entrails to fire would have the power to destroy the gods. Grover said, maybe we could avoid talking about entrails too? Talia stared at the cow serpent with wonder. The power to destroy the gods? How? I mean, what would happen? No one knows, Zoe said. The first time, during the Titan War, the Ophiutarus was in fact slain by a giant ally of the Titans, but thy father Zeus sent an angel to snatch the entrails away before they could be tossed into the fire. That was a close call. Now, after 3,000 years, the Ophiutarus is reborn. Talia sat back down on the dock. She stretched out her hand. Bessie went right to her. Talia placed her hand on his head. Bessie shivered. Talia's expression bothered me. She looked almost hungry. We have to protect him, I told her. If Luke gets a hold of him, Luke wouldn't hesitate, Talia muttered. The power to overthrow Olympus, that's huge. Yes, it is, my dear, said a man's voice in a heavy French accent. It is a power you shall unleash. The Ophiutarus made a whimpering sound and submerged. I looked up. We'd been so busy talking we'd allowed ourselves to be ambushed. Standing behind us, his two-color eyes gleaming wickedly, was Dr. Thorne, the Manticore himself. This is just perfect, the Manticore gloated. He was wearing a ratty black trench coat over his Westover Hall uniform, which was torn and stained. His military haircut had grown out spiky and greasy. He hadn't shaved recently, so his face was covered with silver stubble. Basically, he didn't look much better than the guys down at the soup kitchen. Long ago, the gods banished me to Persia, the Manticore said. I was forced to scrounge for food on the edges of the world, hiding in forests, devouring insignificant human farmers for my meals. I never got to fight any great heroes. I was not feared or admired in the old stories. But now that all that will change. The Titans shall honor me, and I shall feast on the flesh of half-bloods. On either side of him stood two armed security guys, some of my mortal mercenaries I'd seen in D.C. Two more stood on the next boat dock over, just in case we tried to escape that way. There were tourists all around, walking down the waterfront, shopping at the pier above us, but I knew that wouldn't stop the Manticore from acting. Where are the skeletons? I asked the Manticore. He sneered. I do not need those foolish undead. The general thinks I am worthless. He will change his mind when I defeat you myself. I needed time to think. I had to say, Bessie, I could dive into the sea, but how could I make a quick getaway with a 500-pound cow serpent? What about my friends? We beat you once before, I said. Ha! You could barely fight me with the goddess on your side. And alas, the goddess is preoccupied at the moment, so there will be no help for you now. Zoe notched an arrow and aimed it straight at the Manticore's head. The guards on either side of us raised their guns. Wait, I said, Zoe, don't. The Manticore smiled. The boy is right, Zoe Nightshade. Put away your bow. It would be a shame to kill you before you witnessed Talia's great victory. What are you talking about? Talia growled. She had her shield and spear ready. Surely it is clear, the Manticore said. This is your moment. This is why Lord Kronos brought you back to life. You will sacrifice the Ophiutarus. You will bring its entrails to the sacred fire on the mountain, and you will gain unlimited power. And for your 16th birthday, you will overthrow Olympus. No one spoke. It made terrible sense. Talia was only 2 days away from turning 16. She was a child of the big three, and here was a choice, a terrible choice that could mean the end of the gods. And just like that prophecy said, I wasn't sure if I felt relieved or horrified or disappointed. I wasn't the prophecy kid after all. Doomsday was happening right now. I waited for Talia to tell the manticore off, but she hesitated. She looked completely stunned. You know it is the right choice, the manticore told her. Your friend Luke recognized it. You shall be reunited with him. You shall rule this world together under the auspices of the Titans. Your father abandoned you, Talia. He cares nothing for you. And now you shall gain power over him. Crush the Olympians underfoot as they deserve. Call the beast. It will come to you. Use your spear. Talia, I said, snap out of it. She looked at me with the same way she had the morning she woke up on Half Blood Hill, dazed and uncertain. It was almost like she didn't know me. I don't. Your father helped you, I said. He sent the metal angels. He turned you into a tree to preserve you. Her hand tightened on the shaft of her spear. I looked at Grover desperately. Thank the gods he understood what I needed. He raised his pipes to his mouth and played a quick riff. The manticore yelled, Stop him! The guards had been targeting Zoe before they could figure out that the kid with the pipes was the bigger problem. The wooden planks at their feet sprouted new branches and tangled their legs. Zoe let loose 2 quick arrows that exploded at their feet in clouds of sulphurous yellow smoke. Fart arrows! The guard started coughing. The manticore shot spines in our direction, but they ricocheted off my lion's coat. Grover, I said, tell Bessie to dive deep and stay down. Moo, Grover translated. I could only hope that Bessie got the message. The cow, Talia muttered, still in a daze. Come on. I pulled her along as we ran up the stairs to the shopping center on the pier. We dashed around the corner of the nearest store. I heard the manticore shouting at the minions. Get them! Tora screamed as the guards shot blindly into the air. We scrambled to the end of the pier. We hid behind a little kiosk filled with souvenir crystals, wind chimes, and dream catchers and stuff like that, glittering in the sunlight. There was a water fountain next to us. Down below, a bunch of sea lions were sunning themselves on the rocks. The whole of San Francisco Bay spread out before us. The Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz Island, and the green hills and fog beyond the north. A picture-perfect moment, except for the fact that we were about to die and the world was going to end. Go over to the side, Zoe told me. You can escape to the sea, Percy. Call on thy father for help. Maybe you can save the Opataras. She was right, but I couldn't do it. I won't leave you guys, I said. We fight together. You have to get word to the camp, Grover said. At least let them know what's going on. Then I noticed the crystals making rainbows in the sunlight. There was a drinking fountain next to me. Get word to the camp, I muttered. Good idea. I uncapped Riptide and slashed off the top of the water fountain. Water burst out of the busted pipes and sprayed all over us. Talia gasped as the water hit her. The fog seemed to clear from her eyes. Are you crazy? She asked. But Grover understood. He was already fishing around in his pockets for a coin. He threw a golden dramaca into the rainbow created by the mist and yelled, Oh, goddess, accept my offering. The mist rippled. Camp Half-Blood, I said. And there, shimmering in the mist, right next to us, was the last person I wanted to see. Mr. D, wearing leopard skin jogging suit, rummaging through the refrigerator. He looked up lazily. Do you mind? Where's Chiron? I shouted. How rude! Mr. D took a swig from a jug of grape juice. Is this how you say hello? Hello, I amended. We're about to die. Where's Chiron? Mr. D considered that. I wanted to scream at him to hurry up, but I knew that wouldn't work. Behind us, footsteps and shouting. The Manticore's troops were closing in. About to die, Mr. D mused. How exciting. I'm afraid Chiron isn't here. Would you like me to take a message? I looked at my friends. We're dead. Talia gripped the spear. She looked like her old angry self again. Then we'll die fighting. How noble, Mr. D said, stifling a yawn. So what is the problem exactly? I didn't see that it would make any difference, but I told him about the Opataras. He studied the contents of the fridge. So that's it. I see. You don't even care, I screamed. You just assumed to watch us die. Let me see. I think I'm in the mood for pizza tonight. I wanted to slash through the rainbow and disconnect, but I didn't have time. The manticore screamed, There! And we were surrounded. 2 of the guards stood behind him, and the other 2 appeared on the roofs of the pier shops above us. The manticore threw off his coat and transformed into his true self. The lion claws extended and his spiky tail bristling with poison barbs. Excellent, he said. He glanced at the apparition in the mist and snorted. Alone, without any real help. Wonderful. You could ask for help, Mr. D murmured to me as if he were an amusing thought. You could say please. When wild boars fly, I thought. There was no way I was going to die begging like a slob to Mr. D just so he could laugh as we all got gunned down. Zoe readied her arrows. Grover lifted his pipes. Talia raised her shield, and I noticed a tear running down her cheek. Suddenly it occurred to me this had happened to her before. She'd been cornered on Half-Blood Hill, and she'd willingly given her life to save her friends, but this time she couldn't save us. How can I let that happen to her again? Please, Mr. D, I muttered. Help. Of course. Nothing happened. The manticore grinned. Spare the daughter of Zeus. She will join us soon enough. Kill the others. The men raised their guns, and then something strange happened. You know how you feel when all the blood rushes to your head? Like if you hang upside down and turn right side up too quickly? There was a rush like that all around me, and a sound like a huge sigh, and sunlight tinged with purple. I smelled grapes and something more. Sour wine. Snap! It was the sound of many minds breaking at the same time. The sound of madness. One guard put his pistol between his teeth like it was a bone and ran around on all fours. The other two dropped their guns and started waltzing with each other. The fourth began doing what looked like Irish clog dancing. It would have been funny if it hadn't been so terrifying. No, screamed the manticore. I will deal with you myself. His tail bristled, but the planks under his paws erupted into grapevines, which immediately began wrapping around the monster's body, sprouting new leaves and clusters of baby green grapes that ripened in seconds as the manticore shrieked until he was engulfed into a huge mass of vines, leaves, and full clusters of purple grapes. Finally, the grapes stopped shivering, and a feeling that somewhere inside there the manticore was no more. Well, said Dionysus, closing the refrigerator, that was fun. I stared at him horrified. How did you, such gratitude, he muttered. The mortals will come out of it. Too much explaining to do if I made their condition permanent. I hate writing reports to father. He stared resentfully at Talia. I hope you learned your lesson, girl. It isn't easy to resist power, is it? Talia blushed as if she were ashamed. Mr. D, Grover said in amazement, you saved us. Don't make me regret it, Satyr. Now get going, Percy Jackson. I bought you a few hours at the most. The Opetaurus, I said. Can you get it to camp? Mr. D sniffed. I do not transport livestock. That's your problem? But where do we go? Dionysus looked at Zoe. Oh, I think the huntress knows. You must enter at sunset today, you know, or all is lost. No, goodbye. My pizza is coming. Mr. D, I said. He raised his eyebrow. You called me by my right name, I said. You called me Percy Jackson. I most certainly did not, Peter Johnson. Now off with you. He waved his hand and his image disappeared in the mist. All around us, the Manticore's minions were still acting completely nuts. One of them found our friend the homeless guy, and they were having a serious conversation about metal angels from Mars. Several other guards were harassing the tourists, making animal noises and trying to steal their shoes. I looked at Zoe. What did he mean, you know where to go? Her face was the color of the fog. She pointed across the bay past the Golden Gate. In the distance, a single mountain rose up above the cloud layer. The garden of my sisters, she said. I must go home. All right. Later this week, we'll read chapter 16. We meet the dragon of eternal bad breath. All right, and then we've only got 2 more chapters to go after that. So we'll be finished with the book next week. All right. Bye, guys.